世界のみんなとつながろう Bridges across world communities.
Hello everyone and welcome to Bridges Across World Communities, sponsored by NIA, the Nishinomiya City International Association. My name is Thelma.
And I'm Floyd. Each month we provide practical knowledge for daily living and important information about disaster prevention.
This program is for English-speaking residents in the Nishinomiya area and it's broadcast on the second and fourth Saturdays of each month from 12 noon to 12:15.
This month we'll be talking about shinshu and a popular annual sake event held in Nishinomiya.
Our disaster prevention tip is about ways to confirm the safety of your family and friends during the disaster.
And we have the second half of our interview with Mr. Fabio Crosilla, originally from Switzerland and now living in Nishinomiya.
提供は西宮市国際交流協会です。
Well, Thelma, it's that time of year when we can all enjoy shinshu again. Have you noticed the shinshu labels appearing on sake bottles at the sake shops and supermarkets recently?
Yes, I have, Floyd. But what exactly do you mean by shinshu?
Right. Well, in Japan, the sake brewing year is defined as the 12 months starting in July and ending in June.
Mm-hmm.
So shinshu, or what they call new sake, is fresh sake that was made and sold during the current brewing year.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, the sake we drink is made during the cold months from October through March. So the sake made during that time is sold as shinshu until the end of June.
Okay, I've also seen some bottles with a label that says shiboritate. And what's that about?
Yeah, well, shiboritate is new sake also, but it's a kind of a raw sake.
Uh-huh.
Now, shiboritate is bottled without the heating process called hiire. I think I'm saying that right.
Wow, okay.
Now, hiire is a type of heat treatment given to prevent sake from going bad, kind of like pasteurization. Now, it's an essential process to make a stable product and is usually done twice before sake is marketed and shipped to stores. Now, because shiboritate doesn't go through the heating process and can go bad quickly, you have to drink it while it's really fresh. And since it's difficult for supermarkets or sake shops to deal with this kind of sake, it's sold only at local sake breweries.
Okay. Well, with so many sake breweries in our area, so it's not difficult for Nishinomiya residents to get a taste of shiboritate, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. In fact, there's an annual event happening right now called Kurobiraki, or Open Brewery, and that's where you can enjoy shinshu and shiboritate, and it's just a few blocks from here. Shall we go over the schedule for this year's
Sure.
Kurobiraki event? Okay. I think I've got it
now,
here.
every year during the months of February and March, the 6 major sake companies of Nishinomiya will take turns opening their breweries to the public, right? So various demonstrations are given, including sake making and traditional barrel making, right?
Yes. Now, this year's event started on Saturday, February 3rd with the Takara Musume Brewery. So some of our listeners may have already enjoyed that. And the Hakushika Brewery is open today, Saturday, February 10th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. If we rush, we can make it.
We can. Okay.
So now, when are the next brewery openings scheduled?
Well, the Tokuoka Brewery will open on Saturday, February 17th. And then Nihon Sakare Brewery on Friday, February 23rd. That's a national holiday. And the Hakutaka Brewery on Sunday, March 3rd. And on Saturday, March 9th, the last day of the event of the Oziki Brewery will open to the public.
Now, for more details, including opening hours, it would be best to check online. Just do a web search for Nishinomiya Kurobiraki. Now, there's a flyer with detailed information that's also available, and you can get that at Frente Nishinomiya, which is near JR Nishinomiya Station, at Hanshin Nishinomiya Station, and at Hankyu Nishinomiya Kitaguchi Station.
Okay, all the breweries are located south of Nishinomiya Shrine, that's Ibeso Jinja, in the area between National Highway 43 and the waterfront.
Right.
By the way, have you heard the proverb, sake wa hyaku no cho?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. What is that?
Well, it means like sake is the king among hundreds of medicine and was first written in a Chinese book titled Kanjo around the year of 90 AD. And it was believed that in modernization, sake has a magical health effect greater than any other medicine.
Magical health effect, eh? Well, in that case, I think it's time to refill my prescription.
Okay, I've also heard that shinshu and shiburutate are recommended for beginners or those who usually don't like sake.
Yeah, that's right. And it's now the best time of year to enjoy some of Nishinomiya's world-famous sake.
乾杯。
78.6 Sakura FM.
And we'd like to welcome back Mr. Fabio Crosilla for the second half of our interview.
Hi, hello again.
Thanks for joining us again.
Thanks a lot.
Now, I just want to pick up a little bit from the end of last month's interview where we were talking a little bit about traveling Japan. You said you really enjoy going to all these different places. And you sort of mentioned that you don't need a car in Japan. It's easy to get around. I always had the impression in Europe it was like that as well. You had great trains and the countries were so close together. You know, a couple hours you could be in one or two other countries, you know, Germany, from Switzerland, Germany, Holland, wherever.
That's true. It's easy, but it's also very expensive. And you're more flexible in Switzerland, or let's say in Europe, having a car. You know, it's not like here. I feel from my side anyhow. So that's the main reason why everybody, or most of the families, or people with children also have cars. Yeah.
And again, I guess with the countries so close together, you're picking up all kinds of languages as you're growing up in Europe.
Exactly.
So how many languages do you speak?
4.
4. So Japanese should be nothing for you.
That's a little bit a challenge. Will be a challenge for me, because it's completely different language. Also, the alphabet doesn't exist like we know it. I'm learning now katakana. But if I think about hiragana and kanji coming up, I might be 80.
Well, I've been here 15 years and I still can't speak it, so good luck to you.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, we mentioned also last month that you're retired. What were you doing before you came to Japan?
So before I was in the overseas transport.
Okay, what does that mean exactly?
Container shipping.
Yeah,
exactly. So I was leading Japanese container shipping line agency in Basel.
Oh, so it was a Japanese company, shipping company. That's interesting.
Yeah. With the red containers with the white logo.
What's that? What is that? Red container, white logo. I should know that.
K-Line.
K-Line.
Kawasaki Kissenkai.
Oh.
Now, there's been kind of a big disruption in international sea transport over the last few years. I guess we had that big ship getting stuck in the Suez Canal. Then we had Corona. How did that affect the industry from your perspective?
So it was a big negative impact for the industry itself. Also, there was a lack on spare parts, on whatever you think about it. There was a lack of because of the just-in-time concept which everybody had. You tried to minimize the warehousing, and with the Ever Given stocking at the Suez Canal.
That was the big.
That was the big bang, which caused so many huge problems. Of course, Corona later on as well, when China, for example, was not able to produce anymore, when everything was closed. And for the transport industry itself, it was a blessing.
A blessing?
Because after all those years where you struggled, especially the steam shipping lines, struggled financially because with the rate levels which you had pre-corona, you couldn't really earn money.
So they ended up earning tons of money.
Tons of money.
So what did it cost to ship a container, say, from Europe to Japan pre all these problems and then after?
Interesting is the costs from to Europe.
Okay.
That one has the biggest gap. Also before, from Japan, for example. Also Japan was always treated a little bit different, always more expensive. But what I can say is, for example, out of the main ports in the rest of Asia, like Shanghai, Hong Kong, Singapore, which are all main ports. Pre-corona, we talked about, at the end, before corona, about $300-400 a 20-foot container.
One container.
A smaller one, which has 30 cubic meters capacity. And during corona, we are talking about $13,000.
Oh my God.
So it was a huge, big
So even though the shipping companies were running fewer ships, they were making a lot more money. So in some ways their expenses were far lower.
Exactly.
And they were making a lot.
Exactly.
So have things improved at all in the last?
No.
So it's
No. So what also improved?
Like since
the
then?
money they earned. What I can say, I'm not an expert, but the money they earned, they invested somehow in new softwares for the shipping, new vessels, of course. Now we can talk about longer. Is it worth to build bigger vessels than we have already now, or not? But that's a complete different story.
Yeah. I'm kind of assuming that a lot of the inflation we felt here and in America and places, a lot of that can be, I guess, the shipping costs can be contributing to that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, a big issue here, which you brought up earlier before the interview, was bread. You have a problem with bread.
Also here
in Japan.
It might become a problem for me because I love bread and I love the variety of bread which we have in Europe, especially in Switzerland or in Basel, where I'm coming from. You know, we have the crispy breads, not only the baguette style, but we have a darker ones.
And you can't get that here.
I couldn't find it yet. So, might be an issue, but okay. I have to cope with it.
So besides the bread, anything else you miss from Switzerland?
You know, the classic ones, the cheese,
yeah.
the real cheese, the sausages, as a Italian as well, the prosciutto, Parmigiano. Also, you can find the Parmigiano here, but it's it's like gold. No? Price-wise, gold.
So I guess with a name like Fabio Crosilla, there's a lot of Italian in your...
Exactly.
Okay, so that's why you're getting into the Italians.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you can find something. Maybe there's a big marketing opportunity here. Maybe start a business importing some,
who knows?
Some breads and sausages and cheese.
Yeah, but the bread might be difficult, you know, to get it fresh here.
I want to thank you so much for joining us. It's been a fun interview.
Thanks a lot.
You've only been here three months, but good luck.
Thank you.
You're going to be here for a long time yet.
Yes.
And I think you're going to enjoy yourself.
Thank you very much. I think so too.
Welcome to the club.
Thanks, Fabio.
Great. Thank you very much.
Sakura FM
防災情報です。
When a large disaster occurs, communications are usually disrupted and it can be almost impossible to contact anyone in the affected areas. It's a good idea to have several methods prepared in advance for contacting family and friends to confirm their safety.
For example, mobile phone companies such as Docomo, au, and SoftBank provide emailing services in times of disaster.
NTT provides a free phone service called Disaster Emergency Message Dial 171, with specially prepared connections for emergency and disaster situations. With this service, you can call, leave messages, and listen to recorded messages.
NTT also offers a service called Disaster Broadband Message Board Web 171 as means of inquiring after the safety of people in disaster-stricken areas via the internet. Of course, you can also try social networks to contact people.
Now, strangely, it's sometimes easier for long-distance calls to get through to disaster areas than local calls. So you might try calling friends or relatives living in distant locations and ask them to contact your friends or family members living in the disaster zone.
And if you have to evacuate or leave your home temporarily, always leave a message in the mailbox with information on where you're going and how you can be contacted.
And lastly, share a printed list of emergency phone numbers and contact information with your family members, and always carry it with you. For inquiries about city office services in English, please call the Nishinomiya Multilingual Call Center at 0798-36-5000.
For consultation services and any other inquiries, contact NIA at 0798-328680 or send an email to nia@nishi.or.jp. Our English-speaking staff will be happy to help you. Please continue to be careful and stay safe.
今日は西宮市国際交流協会でした。
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Keep warm.